Greetings, this is Dan Houston. It's a Wednesday, midweek, and it's a crisis-ridden week, and what's going to happen the rest of this week and in the near future, none of us know. We obviously know that the war is probably going to happen even more so now that more and more stories about some of the atrocities that were committed by the terrorist Hamas sector were perpetuated on 1,500 Israelis, and whether we like it or not, and of course it doesn't make any difference. We may have feelings about revenge, we may have feelings about hate and anger, but what will happen, and we will be bystanders and hopefully people who pray that in some way, some good and something worthwhile will be done. So that's the week that is. I couldn't help but think that when I first thought about the topic for today, there was a part of me, the old broadcaster says clickbait, put on a title that people will click and listen to. And so, of course, something like this came to me. I think we should have a podcast for losers. Well, of course, you might want to figure out what in the world's that all about, and so you click and switch. However, I didn't do that. I made it as I have it right there. I think we need a podcast for those wonderful winners who can teach us about the art of losing. Yes, the art of losing. Well, that's what the program is all about. It'll be just a few minutes in this midweek, but I do want to do that. I think I would like to be able to have a podcast for those people who could teach us about the art of losing. Well, let's see where that goes. The program begins right now. Yes, I confess, those of you who listen to me regularly, I make it very clear, interesting ideas of all kinds, but they're designed for those of you who want to be one of the successful 3%, for those people who are seeking to have more insight and influence and impact in their world and perhaps have greater income come to them. Yeah, those things that we traditionally call well-achieving, good living, successful living, success. And of course, I always do so with the theme that is very much subtext sometimes, and sometimes I'm coming right out and saying it, is that true success can only happen if you have spiritual, emotional, relational success. That the quality of your life, your spirit, your mind, your soul, those are also vital qualities to true success. That's right. And we talk about that and speak about that. But I was reminded just the other day, because I came across the magazine that my wife ordered, and which I find helpful and useful. A few years ago, we went through a diagnosis that maybe, not now, but maybe my dear wife might begin to have some memory issues. And because of that, we want to keep a close track on that and have regular checkups and neurological training and consulting and counseling, because that could happen. It does run in the family, just as her heart condition ran in the family. And so at this age and stage, we are taking care of that and having good and wonderful doctors and nurses and exceptional health care here in the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina. We are blessed indeed. So we truly are, once again, in the middle of a world of winning. But when she went through that, she subscribed to a magazine called Brain and Life. Brain and Life. And it's put out by the Academy for Neurology. It's called Neurology for Everyday Living, and it's the American Academy of Neurology. Only difference is this is not one of those boring medical or technical journals. And in the October-November 2023 issue, I particularly caught this. And so this is where I'm at. I think we need very much to celebrate those people who are teaching us the art of living, because they are beginning to learn and teach others about the art of losing. There are stories about people who've lost things, are losing things. And of course, these are things not of physical value at all. That's not important at all. This is emotional and perhaps some physical well-being. It is about losing the ability to function as they have in the past. Now, this is all a part of the story that has come to me. Next week, right now, this week, I will be making my way to the famous Asbury University and Seminary. That is a well-known small college, traditional Christian organization that was featured in a recent spiritual revival that took place earlier this year, in which people came from all over the world to experience something new and gain something powerful in their spiritual and relational and walk with God lives. Well, I'm going there because, first of all, one of my heroes, and in fact, I might have been named after him. His name is E. Stanley Jones, and you could look him up, but he's been dead for 50 years, so he's lost in that. But he was very, very much one of the more significant people of the world at his time, particularly in his work as a missionary in India. But it was not just his missionary work, his peacemaking work, his relationship with people like Gandhi and others, his ability to do everything he could to keep the terrible things of war from taking place. But in his life and teachings, profoundly important. Many books written. In fact, I was struck by the fact that the last book that he wrote just before he died was written while he was in the throes of a very severe stroke that had fully, in many cases, disabled him. And yet, through a process of signing and dictation and trying to get help from others, he was able to compose his final book, small book, even though he was losing almost all of the faculties. And of course, eventually, through the stroke, took his life so that he could finish his final work, his final book. So all of that comes together in Brain and Life, because what happened, I said, as I read through this, here it is. Comedian Richard Lewis. I've heard about him. I can't say that I'm a fan or knew anything more about him. Who says, take Parkinson's one day at a time and enjoy the good days. He's losing the battle to Parkinson's disease and all that can and will bring. And yet, his story is one of learning how to win while he's losing. And then I was struck in particular by another story. And this was, again, an artist that I had heard of, but really I'm not much into popular culture, so I didn't know a great deal about it. but it was entitled In Search of a Smile. Playwright Sarah Ruhl describes what she learned about Bell's palsy during her prolonged recovery. Well, Bell's palsy is something that takes the muscles from your face. And she didn't have the ability to smile. Can you imagine? No, I can't really imagine what it might be like, particularly for me as a communicator, that I wouldn't have the ability to show any facial expression in any way. And she is teaching us about how for many, many years and still struggling to gain what she can while she is losing some of the very qualities that go into a life well lived and into making a good living in many sense. So that's all I'm really going to be about today. What I'm suggesting is just that. I'm going to be talking to more and more people about a podcast that maybe some of you would like to be a part of. I know that many of you know stories of significant people. And significant not because they're celebrity or famous, of course not. But they were significant in their character and their courage and their confidence, and how we could learn so much about the art of living that they can teach us by what they did in learning the art of losing. So, would you be thinking about that? As I make my way to the college, I'm going to be talking to some of the young people there, and this would be a great thing for them to do, to actually learn to interview and perhaps learn to gain the stories from people who are in the process of losing some of their ability, their functionality, their quality of life, and of course, that tragedy of actually losing your memory and maybe even losing who you really are. Yes, we need to learn how to win, but we also need to learn how to lose. And perhaps you could be a part of helping me help others learn that. Learn that. Sounds kind of loony. Could learn that through helping others share their story, and that we can be inspired and strengthened by it, and perhaps we can even discover ways that we can help these people in perhaps working with, in an active way, how those diseases can be pushed back, or how advocacy may be able to help them find new and better ways of coping with it. Those are all things that maybe we could do. Truly, we need to learn from those brave and wonderful souls who have taught us about the art of losing. I'm Stan Husted. These are interesting ideas. That's it for today. Again, if this interests you, I hope that you will be in touch, or you'll reach out to me, or you'll make suggestions, or maybe you'll be the one who'd like to raise your hand and say, I know exactly who can do that. I know what that program should be like. Indeed, I think I could do it myself. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com. All the best and blessings to you, and blessings be to those who are teaching us the gift, the courage, and the confidence and the ability to live a life with the art of losing. Till next time, bye for now.